other ideas and options. But the truck itself had been working good, running good, smooth, and all its life you haven't had problems or things you've had to replace.
Yeah, right. No check engine lights, nothing. That's a pretty good truck.
Well, what we run across on some of these would be that the tire opportunity is something it could be. And so you might just maybe, if you have an opportunity to get it inside, or when the temperatures are warming up here in the next week, if you're in our area, see if that problem goes away. Because if all of a sudden we have nights where it doesn't get down to the 30s like it has been, and all of a sudden it's staying at 45 degrees overnight, and your problem goes away, it could be an indication. But it could also be something else going on with the inside the torque, inside the transfer case. It could be something inside the transmission with that cold temperature, but we don't want to worry about that quite yet. I think I'd want to rule out the tire situation first.
The good news is the cold has been like 3 days, and now you got the whole rest of the year ahead of you. So
yeah,
That's what I was thinking. I'm going to find out here in a month or so.
Because I've had vehicles like that before with tires on them that just when they sit and it's cold, they'll vibrate a little bit until they get warmed up and get going. But it's not super normal. I mean, usually they're pretty true and not a problem.
If it's cold, it's only cold. It's tires.
I kind of cheat. I cheaped out and I went with. I didn't even buy light truck tires. I went to Walmart. I don't know if I can say that on national radio, but I bought some cheap tires to put on it.
Yeah, it's your fault. You can say that.
Yeah. You're not the first or last person to do that. That's okay. But Russ, would you think he should just keep zeroing in on the tires, or?
Yeah, I can't think of anything that would cause a problem cold, but not warm, other than a tire with what he's having.
Yeah. Does that help you out there, Mike?
I'd stay on that track. Maybe try rotating the tires. Just put front on back once to see any changes. But I would definitely just pay attention to it. Make sure it doesn't get any worse. Make sure you don't have any. If you haven't changed fluids in your transfer case yet, with that many miles on it, it'd be a good time to do it, just as a maintenance item.
Yeah, it seems like a new truck, but it's 11 years old.
But when they drain the fluids, just have them inspect it to make sure there's not excess filings. I'm guessing you've done transmission service on that with that many miles, but probably if it's running good and the fluid looks good, it'd be way past a great time to have that done.
What about doing a burnout every morning to get them warmed up? Just like a patch?
Like staging for a drag strip?
Exactly.
I'm not against that.
Yeah.
Hair dryer.
He's going to have a really hard time doing that in this all-wheel drive Denali, though.
Probably, yeah.
On that one there, you can't even turn off the four-wheel drive system.
You really got to want it.
Yeah.
Add a supercharger first.
You'd have to commit really hard.
Yeah. Mike, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. What's caught your attention? You've been sending out some texts there and emails of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't always remember what I send you.
I don't either.
I'm expecting you guys to remember.
I wrote the one down yesterday, but I didn't write it down and bring it.
Well, I think probably the biggest news that has been hitting a lot of the news networks is the fact that one of the big domestics, General Motors, just took a $1.6 billion write-off against earnings in the third quarter to basically as a correction for their losses on the investments in the rapid deployment of EVs. I hope I said that correctly and carefully. It was the fact that they went in so hard, so fast. The money that was invested is not returning to the bottom line or even into the cash flow the way it should be. And so I don't know how that big time accounting works, but they took a write-off against earnings, a one-time write-off to kind of correct course, and said that they will be continuing their development, but at a different pace.
Sure.
But what was it Mary said about all electric by what year?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was 2035. Yeah, it was.
Whatever it was, it's not happening.
But that was,
supply and demand.
I think, I know just based on now we can see that what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that is the pace it should have went at if the market would have been allowed to control things.
Right.
Because there is
probably gave them a jump start. Everybody.
Exactly. You've said it many times. They're not going to make that goal, but they're going to be a lot further down the road. Mm-hmm. Well, the technology is highly advanced, but the progression is going to be more palatable to match what the market can handle.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. We'll be back after this.
Three friends talking cars. You decide if they know what they're talking about. This is Under the Hood.
That's easy. If one of us is talking, and it's me, we don't know what we're talking about. If it's you guys, we're good. 866-594-4150. Don't forget, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel, now with audio.
Now, new and improved with audio.
Also, if you miss any episode, you can always find us at our podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Hoodie Fan Club at underthehoodshow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Linus Leary, not to be confused with Dennis Leary.
True.
Two totally different people here. Congratulations from everybody here at Under the Hood Show. Our friends over at Berkeley One Classic celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage. And Universal Technical Institute, UTI.edu.
Speaking of
Berkeley.
we just had a chance to
Berkeley
go spend
won.
some time with them down in Texas.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful event.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a road trip.
Yep.
And boy, did we
Road
have a
trip.
road trip with Mr. Russ Evans and going back to his hometown, part of this trip. But yeah, Berkeley One Classics had us down as a event guest, special guest at the October Beast Employee Appreciation and Car Show at Toyota headquarters in Plano, Texas.
I believe it was the 34th annual.
Was it that many?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So basically going back to when the show started, about when we could have been there for their first show.
For year one.
Not there, but there.
You actually had to hold up phones then. We'd have been on a landline, just holding it up. It was so fun. What a great event. And it was just employees' cars in the car show. And there were hundreds of cars.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved how they had them separated out. There was there was competitors, there was classics, and then there was Toyotas. It was really, what a cool car show. And to see the amount of car people and just, I mean, there was everything in that show. There were exotics, there were
Drift cars.
there complete
was
classics that were, and then Resto
all originals, like the gentleman we interviewed. What was his name again with the GTO?
Mike.
Mike.
Right? That was Mike.
Yeah.
We're going to post it up on YouTube this week.
Yeah, we got a video to be posting up of just a very...
It was a good story.
A very unique one-off GTO when you get right down to it.
That he
Possibly less than 50 of them made.
Yeah, that he didn't even know about, was driving it like a everyday beater until... Oops. But there's a great story in there with father-son, his father, and then him, father-son, with his son.
Excellent story.
Oh,
so that'll be coming up on YouTube here
it.
pretty soon. That story will post. And that'll be fun. And we did an interview with one of the marketing vice presidents, Nick Miller, and it was just a fun interview because he had been involved in so many things. He was involved in the launch of the Supra the second time on the marketing team. Lots of projects. He got involved in the Supra racing series that came after that. He's been involved in a lot of things that were just fun to talk about, the motorsports arena. And so I know you guys did too. We really enjoyed the conversation with Nick, and that's posted up on our podcast. And we picked our best of show, or at least we'll call it our favorites, each one of us.
Yeah.
That was fun. And we got to go out and just look through the vehicles and kind of figure out which one we liked the best. And there was a ton of favorites out there. That's hard to do. I don't want to be a judge at a car show. We
liked pretty much everything, but it was just the one that really jumped out at us that made us go, let's go take a second look. I know you guys had your favorites, and I had one, and I had about 5, but the one really jumped out at me.
Yeah, I picked a 1991 Honda Beat, and it caught my eye because it was yellow. Yellow kind of catches my eye, and it was tiny. Just this tiny little mid-engine. I didn't know it even existed. Fun car. Yeah. And they call it in the world of the people that know them, the Mini NSX, because it came out the same year as the Acura NSX, that generation. and it was really the guy that had it was an enthusiast of enthusiasts.
Mhm.
I'm going to try to get him on for an interview. He knew a lot of people in the car world down in the Fort Worth area, and I told him about a friend of mine, Dallas Fort Worth Toy Museum, Ron Sturgeon, that is from our industry originally, and he's been on quite a few TV shows and stuff with his dogs and different things. And I said, have you been to his new toy museum? Because he just moved it to a new place. It's kind of been back where the original salvage yard was, and he had stuff stored all over the place, and it's finally been unearthed to bring it out into the open. And he knew Ron. He's been to the toy museum, and he knew him, so he was going to make that connection back. I said, I don't know Ron like amazing, but I go, he definitely knows who I am, and we definitely know each other. And that was fun, just making those connections and just finding out what was it you had picked? You had a really cool looking
old 70 Chevy truck.
Yeah.
But it had a motorcycle in the back of it too, and it all matched. It was a theme,
Yeah, it was
garage theme, the truck and the whole.
Yeah, it made it look, it was still old, but it was new, and it was kind of cool, and that was a lot of fun to see that truck. And you got out there right after the rainstorm?
After, yeah.
Right. Yeah. The show was perfect. And then while we were inside at the Toyota Experience, which is a whole nother subject.
Yeah, we'll talk about that separate.
There was just a really big, they call it a gully washer, just
Yeah.
sunny sky, then downpour, probably an inch of rain, and then nothing. It
Yeah.
was sunny again.
And there were I felt so bad. There were cars out there,
The
open windows,
open.
hoods up, and just
I felt bad.
tops down.
Well, the forecast was zero rain. I'm glad it
Zero.
didn't happen a half hour earlier. We would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
It been a big mess. And what was your pick there, Chris?
I had a Japanese imported fire truck. It was
Yes.
a
Was it a Land Cruiser?
pickup. No, it was
an FJ?
it was an FJ. And
Yeah.
it was lifted, and then it had a new roof welded on. It was a fire truck, and then he imported it and found it here. The guy imported it. He bought it here. After finding one in Japan, he was able to find one here, and he got it. It had all Japanese instruments and stuff, and he was going to leave that all there, and it was very, very cool.
I think I had posted a bunch of pictures that I forwarded onto our Facebook page for Under the Hood Show, but if not, I'll go back and we'll make separate posts of our winners.
Oh, there we go.
And put them on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
I got to go back and get that information, but we'll post those winners, and we'll post a few more pictures of the show. It was really, really cool, and we really enjoyed the event, and we're just very thankful they invited us down.
Absolutely.
And the folks there that were from Toyota Insurance, that's the partner with Berkeley One Classics. They were just tremendous. They treated us with amazing hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of fun going out and having dinner with them, and going out on the town for the night to watch the end of the football game, and just had a great evening.
And if you're into cars, coming out of a steakhouse in Dallas, Fort Worth, that area at 10 o'clock at night, it's all right.
Do you remember when I pointed across the street and I was showing I said there were those spoked wheels on those Vogue tires, and I said, "Oh, there's some Vogues," and you guys were like, "Oh, that's probably just the thing or whatever." Those were Trues and Vogues from the 80s.
Were they?
Oh, wow.
I thought I heard that song. I was like, "Wait a second, Trues and Vogues." I looked it up. I went, "That's right. That's what they're True Spoke Wheels and Vogue Tire Company, which is gone now. Trues and Vogues."
Huh.
That was if you were the thing in the 80s.
Was that on a car, or was that the one that was
No,
in
they
the
were just tires in the window.
Oh, that was at the Louis Vuitton retail
think it
outlet,
was,
retail
yeah.
store there right across the street from where we were in that area. Interesting.
That's
Interesting. I just knew that they dressed up the windows because they always have wonderful window displays. My wife always drops in on those stores when we're
If Trucker Joe's
Found
listening
somewhere.
right now, he's going to be like, "Yep, I got it. Trues and Vogues."
Yeah, so that was fun. That was really cool.
866.
We'll talk a little more about
Yeah.
the rest of it after these calls.
866-594-4150. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Yeah, we'll get back to it.
Let's talk to Jack in Kansas. Jack, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Boy, I'll tell you what, I got a 2001 Jeep Cherokee that a fellow was driving down the road, hit a bump, and it just quit. And he just filled it up with fuel. I put one of them cheap little testers on there, and no codes will show up. And it'll turn over. It'll almost start on ether. My brothers seem to think that they've heard that there's a leak somewhere inside the wiring harness that may break. You ever heard of that?
Yep. Passenger side down that fender well, there's a harness that runs down there from that battery area. They've been known to have some issues. So if it hits a bump and dies and it won't start, if you're trying to scan it while it's not starting, you're not going to be able to scan it because it powers the vehicle, powers the computer. So you're not going to get any power to the fuel injection of it.
Okay.
But you can get power to the spark, but not to the fuel injection. So you're going to have to, I would say, plug the scanner in, set it on the windshield, and move that harness just very slowly, just barely touch it, and see if you can get the scanner to come on. And if you can, every time it comes on and goes off, just move the harness in a different spot until you can narrow it down really good. Then take that harness apart, find a connection in it, and go from there.
Boy, you know what? I am so glad I called you because he worked for Dodge dealership. He told me that they've had issues with that.
Yeah, but nobody remembers. I barely remember where it was until I hear you on this call, and I went, wait a second. I know this one.
I know what that is. Yeah.
Well, and you could just start wiggling around. Well, Chris, you'd love that. You'd love that kind of answer. And I know, and I also know what Chris would do again is he would, if he was wiggling around and it came back to life, and he wiggled it enough times where it never quit again.
Yeah,
you'd be done.
He'd
leave it until it broke again.
Well, that's the thing. If I fix it by wiggling it and I bring it in, is it going to find that fault? Are you going to be able to? If he wiggles that harness and it comes back, Russ, and then he drives in with it running, are you going to be able to find the problem? See?
So he's got to find the problem. He's got to move it until he breaks it.
My fix is right on this one. Just drive it. Jack, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Jordan in Iowa. Jordan, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What can we do for you?
I have an 85 Buick LeSabre Collector's Edition, if that makes a difference.
Do you remember that one, Shannon? I was looking at Chris, and I was like, Collector's, and then all of a sudden it hit me, and I went, I remember it. Doesn't it have a badge like on the side of the Landau top or whatever on the back that says Collector's Edition?
Yep, and the hood ornament says Collector's Edition as well.
Okay, so we're not crazy, and listeners, this truly is that's correct.
What's going on with this big bad Buick?
Well, I've been a technician for about 10 years now, and this guy is a little bit out of my wheelhouse when it comes to wiring. The wipers will not turn off, and if you go to the wiper motor underneath the hood, it has the delay on it. So there's a little, from what I see, is a pulse board. From what I can tell, that's what that is.
How many wires on it? Do you remember? Total on the motor.
On the motor, there's 4 pins.
And then does it have 2 in the center? 4 pins to the side and 2 in the center on a separate plug?
There's 3. So there's 2 that are vertical, and then 1 goes horizontal off to the side, which connects to a green relay.
Keep going.
Okay. And so I've got the plug to the motor, and then there's another smaller pin coming off of the motor, and there's a blue wire that connects to that smaller pin that goes straight to that pulse board. And if I unplug that blue wire, the wipers will park, but then I don't have my delay.
Okay. That's up. Okay. Under the dash of that, there should be a delay module.
Okay.
Tried to find one for a friend of mine in Texas, and I walked through my U-Pull-It yard here. It's not my yard at all. It's that guy's over there. But anyways, I walked through the yard, and I found like 8 of them, but not for what I needed. I was looking for one for like an 83 Chevy truck, and they're a little different. There's a spot where they switch, and what I was finding was the other design, which I think is what you have. So I would suggest looking at a U-Pull-It yard, but it's going to be a little box you're going to find up under the dash. It's it's small. It's like 2 inches square or so with a little round thing on one side of it and some fins. That's your delay module for that. And if it's not working, they're just going to stay up all the time. Sometimes you can turn it off and then turn the switch on and off and back on again, and they'll come down and park and they'll stay there. Otherwise, they'll just stop wherever you turn the key off in some cases. But I think your problem is going to be that delay module. I can't recall ever having a wiring issue with that body style. I can't remember what they called that body anymore. It's been so long. But with that body style car, I don't think I ever saw a wiring issue. It was almost always either the switch had a broken wire in it, which you'd know because none of these other functions would work, the little stalk,
Right.
or the wiper motor itself, but you've got a motor that operates. When they're operating, it's typically that board every time, underneath the dash.
Okay, what's that called again?
It's called a pulse wiper module.
Okay.
If you look one up on YouTube or the internet, you'll see pictures of it and see that it's not available.
And if it was a little bit newer, it'd have it integrated right into the wiper motor.
Right.
But this one's before
That's why I was
that.
asking about the wires. It would have less wires on it.
You said keep going.
I was gone in the
Yeah,
minutia
okay.
of the wiring.
Yeah.
It was like,
Okay.
I remember them. I remember looking right at them and unplugging them, but Russ has got a different mind than I do.
Then let me commend you because it sounded like you were on. I knew you were faking it, but it did sound like
he
you
was
were
on his
on
way.
board and you were ready to answer. Just
I sold 500 of those wiper motors probably.
866-594-4150. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show.
If your Band-Aid can is empty because you have so many dash lights on, you need to call Under the Hood.
866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Joe, you're up in just a second. While I just want to say one thing about our trip to Texas. We missed an opportunity we met someone who had a connection to a big private collection, and he called and said, could we tour this place? And the guy said, yes, but not until later. And it didn't work for us. I felt like, oh man.
He was telling us all the cool stuff in there, and I was
yeah.
like, oh.
I felt like I was just about to see, it was finally going to be worth it, this show for me. But no.
There's always another chance.
That's true. Let's talk to Joe in Iowa. Joe, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. So, yeah, I have a 1970 Ford 600 dump truck. Recently purchased it from a farmer, and it ran great when I got it. I probably had it for about a month, but then I kind of noticed it was idling rough, and then it was having trouble starting up in the morning, and now I can't even get it started at all. I use starter fluid, she'll fire up for 4 or 5 seconds, and I was thinking it was maybe a fuel filter or something, but I can't find a fuel filter on it. One of my friends told me it was maybe a mechanical fuel pump that went bad, but I don't know. I was just looking for some information on an older truck like that.
Yeah, this is a real common 55-year-old dump truck scam. They sell them and they run for a while and they just sell them like hotcakes, and then you find out you've been tricked. That's pretty much, this one's real. You look this one up, a lot of people buying those 55-year-old dump trucks.
Was this a diesel?
No, this is the gas edition. Yeah.
Okay, we had somebody call in here shows back that had an old dump truck with a diesel in it, and I was just trying to.
That's right.
He was asking questions about fuel additives and different things, and he had a different kind of.
It was a 700, I think.
Yeah, he had a fuel system question on how it was the fuel system was built or the oiling system or something about it. I remember, but I digress. So
I'm trying. I don't know which carburetor's on this one. Sure, I'm thinking the factory one. Some of these had a fuel filter in the fuel pump. They had a spin-on filter, a cartridge on the bottom of the fuel pump housing. Depending, I just remember seeing some of those.
That's what I think I have.
Yeah, if you got a nut-looking thing on the bottom of the fuel pump on the like a bowl, that spins off. Make sure that's clean. But you don't even have to do that. You can just take the line off of the carburetor and disable the ignition system so you don't get any stray sparks up there. But take the power wire off and move it to the side. But when you crank it, you should get plenty of fuel out of there. If you put a cup there or something as you're cranking it, it should fill that thing pretty quickly. If it doesn't do anything, that's your problem. You're not getting any fuel up there. But if you've got pretty good fuel flow and you think, wow, that's a lot of fuel dumping in there, it should be running on that. It could be as bad as the float, the needle could be stuck in the seat. So the float could be sitting on the bottom of the carburetor, ready to let the fuel in, but the needle is still stuck inside of the seat because it's old. It's sat for a while, got some garbage in it, whatever. Sometimes you could kick a little air in that hole with a blowgun, just a couple pounds to knock it loose. to see if it'll run. We've done that on old things we just wanted to try to fire up, like we were going to purchase back in the 80s, see this, like this truck. Like, can we get it going without pulling the top off the carb? But if that does it, you would definitely need to tear the carburetor down and just put a kit in it. You could buy a rebuild kit for probably $40 for that thing. Have it clean, put the kit in it, put it together. If I had something that old, I'd probably put a new fuel pump on it. I would put a fuel filter in line before the fuel pump, and I would replace the rubber sections of the line going back to the tank, make sure the tank is clean. And then those trucks ran great when they ran. But once that fuel system got dirty from sitting, they had all sorts of problems you just couldn't fix without a tear down and fix. But we're not talking about tearing the engine down, just rebuild the carburetor, put a fuel pump on it, put a filter in line,
Make sure
everything's clean, including the tank.
Is there some of those carburetors in that era that had a filter right in the line, right at the carburetor?
The General Motors did right where the line went into the body of it. There's two nuts, one nut for the fuel line, and then you had another nut that you would take off the filter. And usually when you were taking off the fuel line, the nut would spin on the filter. So you had to have a wrench.
Yeah, because I remember we had some Ford pickups, or a particular Ford pickup back in the day. We were trying to get to the state fair with my dad.
They got about they had a short and a long screw-in silver filter on the end of the two barrels.
Yep.
That stuck out. Now this one could have that, or they may have removed it. They're different threads intentionally, so you can't just cram the line in there.
Joe, thanks very much for the call. Good luck.
Had a flashback, had a memory there.
I have a question here. Someone calling about that LeSabre, or on the chat, says, I had a 91 Winnebago Warrior with that pulse module that went out.
Mm-hmm.
I replaced it with 3 relays. Would that work on his LeSabre Collector's Edition?
Well, that would make it work without the pulse system.
Right.
But
So-
he wants the pulse system to work because it's a collector's edition.
Everything needs
maybe.
to work.
Maybe he wants it.
Shannon, when I was in Dallas on Monday this week, I'm driving down the road and I went, "What the heck is that?" And my wife said, "Is that a Grand National?"
No.
And as it got closer,
Was it a GNX?
It was only, yes, and it was only about maybe 4 driveways ahead of us, and it was coming to us, and there was blue smoke coming out of the back. And as it got close enough, I said, "Yep, that's a really beat original GNX." It was, you could hear the turbo, but the panels on it, no rust, but the panels were what you would see like an 85 Regal.
Yes.
Just beat, but the guy had it all original.
I missed one on an auction when we were at the convention.
It could have been a fake GNX too, but either way.
That brought a price that I might have paid.
But
I wasn't bidding either.
Do you want one finished, or do you want to get one like that where you...
I don't want to work that hard.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
That'll do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. 866-594-4150. Hour 2 is coming up. Thanks for listening to the Under the Hood Show.
You're listening to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics, Shannon Nordstrom and Russ the Super Tech Evans. Shannon is an ASE engine and parts specialist, and Russ is an ASE Master Certified Technician with extensive factory drivability training. The Under the Hood Show is heard weekly on this and other great radio stations.
With Russ Evans, this is Shannon Nordstrom, thanking you for tuning in to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show. Have a great day, and remember, PTLA.
The opinions heard on this program, based on the many years of experience of Russ and Shannon, are offered for entertainment value and as a guide to your repair needs. No guarantee to repair or cause is given or implied. Always check with your favorite certified technician and follow all safety procedures before attempting repair. The Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show with the Motor Medics is reproduced and distributed by Prairie House Productions. Have questions for the Motor Medics? Call our 24-hour toll-free number, 866-594-4150. All content of the Under the Hood Show is the property of Nordstrom's Incorporated. Copyright Nordstrom's Automotive and may be reproduced with our permission. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
Welcome to the Under the Hood Show. We are glad to have you with us. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter, here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. Got calls coming in from all over, so let's go right to them. So we'll start in Pennsylvania and talk to Don. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Don, what can we do for you?
Hey guys, I don't know if you remember when I called you back in March 2008 Tahoe. I bought it, and it was about, I don't know, over 100 miles away from where I live, and catalytic converter plugged up, and I asked about the engine. I think we talked about maybe it smoked the rings on the one side, but anyways, had somebody replace the engine, and the guy broke the transmission pump. I'd have the transmission pump replaced.
Oh no!
It's worse. It is. This is the death of
Here we
me,
go.
this vehicle. It cost me $1,800 for the pump and to be put in, and all the stuff that was unhooked from the first guy who put the engine in, who charged me $1,700 to break my transmission. But anyways, now we have an issue when it's at the transmission shop and the guy can't get it started because he only has a transmission 10 quarts of fluid in it. He needs to put 12 in it, but he can't. The torque converter spins. He can't get the bus link. It's saying bus link down. He didn't know what the issue was. He was going to hook me up to have my thing reflash. I called the dealership. Dealership said, if that link is down, he can't communicate. He's going to charge you that money, and you're going to throw some more money away. So I'm not about to do that. Can you tell me where or what possibly could be unhooked that is causing the bus to be down?
Oh, any number
if you were
of
doing
1,000 things.
engine, if you were
Russ, let me ask him a few questions about the engine swap itself,
Yeah.
because that might be where we want to start. Let's.
Well, the first step, turn the key on. Just turn it on. Look at the dash. If the check engine light is not on, then there's no power to the computer system, and you got to start looking in wiring. If that light is on and the bus is down, then the nightmare begins.
So
Yeah,
do
the engine
you know
light
that
is on. Yeah, the check engine light is on.
when you turn the key on?
Yes.
I would see if you could scan it using the generic OBD2 function, not the regular scanner function, where it's identifying the vehicle, and see if you can read anything. And then after that, plug it in and do an all system scan where you're scanning every module in the vehicle and see what shows up. The ones that don't show up, or the one that doesn't show up, is the one that's offline and shorted, has a problem with it. Could be a module.
I'm going to go back here because I've seen this happen in our own experience and with many customers that have bought things from us. When you bought a used engine, or is it a remanufactured? What'd you put in there?
It's a used engine. They shipped it to Pennsylvania from Boston.
Okay. The motor that was put in there, was this done at a dealership or a mainline repair shop, or was it a guy that you know and you swapped an engine?
It was someone I thought I trusted who was a mechanic who did it.
Okay.
We
Well,
got one in the shop right now like that.
he obviously did not live up to his credentials with the broken front pump, but
Maybe he was having a bad
maybe he was having a bad day. Do you know if
No,
they
that's not
switched?
all.
Do you know if they switched the wiring harness from the original engine? Was there still a wiring harness on the engine when you got it, the used one, or did he switch the harness from your original engine and put it onto this motor? Do you know that?
When that engine came, it was strapped so tight. He told me that they ripped the fuel injector lines. All the fuel injection had to be swapped over from my old engine
Should do that
because
anyways.
they had the strap so tight on it.
I'm going to go back, though. I just want to ask this question because we've seen this. There's an engine wiring harness that kind of plugs into everything and hangs on the engine, and sometimes they're left on engines, sometimes they're not. Do you know if he used?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, because
Yeah,
hopefully
but
he
I don't think it was there.
hopefully he used your original wiring harness on that engine, because we've seen it where they don't switch it. It's similar enough that it plugs in, but it's not pinned the same way, or they have a problem. I would definitely go to where the main bulkhead connector of the wiring harness is plugged in, unplug it, and inspect it to make sure there's no pins bent over. Make sure that it's seated all the way if the pins all look good.
Under the fuse box there, under
Yes.
the hood. That's a huge problem with those.
We've
plugged
seen
in.
that happen enough times, and I definitely want you to inspect that first, because look where the
Yeah, that's
look where
funny
the
that
humans have been.
Yeah, that's funny that you're saying that because I remember seeing that when I first looked at this vehicle, and there was a wire loom on all those wires. Now there's no wire loom, and all the wires are there going into the plug. I can literally see that gigantic. It looks like it's a 50-pin plug with all these wires, but they're all loose. They're all loose onto the plug. They're not tied
Somebody's
or
messed with it.
wrapped or nothing.
Yeah, somebody's messed with
And
it.
it has one of the wires has a relay that's strapped to it. There's a little gray relay on it. But I don't know why some of them would. Is that supposed to be covered up with something? I can't remember if that was sitting in a panel. It's right on the fender well.
Yeah, that should be underneath the
above.
fuse block. And once everything's put back into place, you normally don't see that. So either it's flipped open.
No, I can.
Either it's flipped over upside down or sideways, or
There's a really big plastic cover that goes around the whole thing.
Yeah.
Covers that whole thing.
Yeah.
Missing. Some reason somebody was in there, and that's missing now. I can literally see the whole plug.
See, if the harness came with the engine, then they would have to remove that in order to take the old one off and put the new one on. But I'm wondering if it's just not plugged in all the way. If there's a pin bent, that happens a lot. And that will affect your communication inside. The other thing is there's a fuse that powers the cigarette lighter inside the auxiliary port, and that fuse has to be good or you won't be able to communicate with the vehicle. So make sure that all the fuses are, just check every single fuse in that box under there and make sure that they have power on both sides of them, not just one. If half of them are, if both sides are down, then that's a different story because sometimes key has to be on. But if one side's dead, one side's good, you got a blown fuse. You'll need to replace that fuse.
And if this vehicle ran and without these problems prior to this operation taking place, I think of the operation game. They're zapping things on this thing as they're putting it together. Torque converter pump or a transmission pump.
Careful not to touch the sides.
Yeah, that was. I'm just. If it was not done before, it's where the humans have been, and I would be zooming in on the wiring and just have somebody that's done one of these before look at that wiring. It sounds like a bit of a mess.
Don, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. What a bummer. I
think he had worse things to tell us, but I heard enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk to Amy. You're on the Under the Hood show. Amy, what can we do for you?
I have a question about a 2015 Ford Focus. So a little over a year ago, I started having problems with it, and it would die or cut out when I was driving. And there's recalls that are for them that kind of do that. And every time I've brought it, they've said the code, the codes for those recalls are not popping up, so it's not one of those things. I've had it in the shop, I think 5 times in the last year. And so far, what we have changed on it is a new fuel pump module assembly inside the tank, a fuel vapor canister with a vent solenoid, a high pressure fuel pump, the fuel pump driver module, and a fuel pressure sensor on the low side. And then when I just picked it up yesterday, I can't quite remember. I think it was the evap canister solenoid that they switched again. But
does it do this dying when it's slowing down, or is there any certain conditions where it's worse?
No, so it would always do it when I was just driving down the road, or if I would stop at a stoplight, sometimes it would sputter and not go, it would just die at a stoplight, stuff like that. So the last time when I brought it in, and they changed the new fuel pump in the tank, that fixed the dying problem. However, when I picked it up, the check engine light was on and it came up as an evap code. So it's the evap code pressure switch that came on. And so I drove it for a little bit with the check engine light on, and then recently when I brought it back in the shop again, it started smelling like fuel really bad, and then it was like bogging out on me again. So I brought it back in, and that's when he changed this last thing. Yesterday when I picked it up from the shop, I started it, and the check engine light came on again, and the evap pressure switch code came on again. And so they had said like it would be fine to drive it, and if I wanted to switch it, like I'd have to like replace the whole tank, but they said it would be fine. Well, I drove it home, which is like 5 miles, and then it was smelling like really heavily of gas again.
That does make me a little bit nervous about what happened during that fuel pump replacement. I mean, just in general, it should be a pretty straightforward operation, but things can happen with the seal back there.
If you have a fuel smell
Yeah.
and an evap code, typically that is because you have a leak in the tank, and it could be where the fuel pump goes into the top of the tank, and it's leaking there. If it leaks more when it's full of fuel than when it's at a half a tank, if you've got, is this completely full now when you're smelling this fuel?
No, it's at a half.
Okay, if it's half, it shouldn't be leaking out the top of the fuel port. I don't think that, some of them have it on a forward spot, but you would see it on the ground.
We just had one of these in just our check-in building where we check in cars, and we had one that we thought would be drivable for someone that needed a car for transportation, and it was dying. The young man took it out for a drive that helps us down there, and it was dying, and it chug when they pull in. And in that particular one, he goes, "Let me try something," and he replaced the high pressure fuel pump up on the engine. And I know you said you already replaced that, but he replaced that, and that car started running like as smooth as can be. I'm like, "Dante, how'd you know how to do that?" He goes, "I had some experience with another one." And we had another one sitting there that had just came in, and he just grabbed the pump off it and swapped them, and the car started running like perfect. But that was just I think it was a same model Ford Focus. I might have just been a luck of the draw that but I was proud of him that it made it run well. But gosh, how frustrating and now you've chased this to all these different parts. The vapor itself, unless something is really clogged up, shouldn't make the car run that poorly. It's just going to give you an irritating light that won't go off. Is the car running okay now?
Well, I drove it, like 5 miles home yesterday, and it ran fine on the way home, but then it just smelled really heavily of fuel, so then I just kept driving my
If it's running okay, but now you have a fuel cell smell, and you did not have that problem before, correct?
And an evap code.
So right before I brought it in this last time, when I had the purge solenoid switched, it started smelling like fuel.
Okay, you might have two different things going on here.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you have a good relationship with the people you're working with on this one?
Yeah.
I don't like that they had you pick it up and it had a check engine light on.
Right.
I mean, that should have been, unless it came in with one on and you had talked about that and they said, "Hey, we fixed your pump and it's running better now," but that we did not spend any money on diagnosing your check engine light that was on and it's still on. That I don't know what conversation you guys had, but if it was not on when you went in and it's on when you came out after they did that operation, I would go back and have a conversation with them.
Things don't always go perfect in a shop, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, and have them say, let's just talk for a second here. I came in for this problem. I didn't have this problem. I came out with this problem. Is there any chance you worked on the fuel tank? Could you take a second look at what we did and just make sure something's not awry?
And I've just had experience with something similar where talking to the person wasn't the person who they had talked to before.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just a miscommunication between the two guys at the shop. So, yikes. Amy, thanks very much for the call.
Yeah, she had the smell before she went in, though, too.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's one where it's hard not having your hands on it and the equipment hooked to it.
866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Christoph. You're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Hey, guys. Howdy from Geekland. How you doing?
Fantastic. What can we do for you?
Well, first of all, Russ, I saw what you did there with the Mr. Stark reference about don't touch the sides, so I'm proud of you. So I am unstringing some Ethernet cables, but I've got a Buick question for you.
Okay. Side cutters.
So this
Cleans
is
them right up.
2015. Yeah, thanks. 2015 Buick Enclave. Had it for a year now. And I've got a weird noise that has happened since we were driving up in Hill City area, which is a steep grade going up from Rapid City. And I would call it a tiny tea kettle. You know, there's a noisy cricket. There's a tiny tea kettle. It's a small whistling sound. It gets more pronounced. If you don't hear any road noise and you don't hear any wind outside, then you can definitely pick it up. But it only occurs if the car is under these conditions. Steep uphill, steep downhill grade at 60, 65 miles an hour or over. And then when you come down to 45 or 40 miles an hour from those speeds, then it drops out almost immediately. And it seems to be coming from the front end. And I had my dad ride with me, and he turned up his hearing aids, and he could finally hear it. Not quiet. But is there some sort of a vacuum system, power steering system, something with the all-wheel drive that I'm not familiar with for the Buick that would kick in at those higher speeds and then make a tiny whistling sound, almost like a vacuum or some other kind of really quiet mechanical sound up at the front end, but then it would just persist only at those speeds?
Not that I can think of right off, but with the throttle position, it could be something going on with the PCV system in that vehicle. You might even just put one in it because it's probably been forever since it's had a PCV valve, and that one's partially internal. You just have to look it up and see where it's at, so you'll see the picture to get the visual of it. But that's possible that could be what's going on, because when you let off the throttle at a higher RPM, it creates more vacuum. You got a closed throttle butterfly, but you got a high suction on that because the valves are open and it's higher RPM. It's trying to suck more air in. People think, well, I give it more gas, I'm going to have more vacuum. No, you have less vacuum the more throttle. If it's wide open, you basically have no vacuum. It's just kind of flowing through there into the engine. So that would eliminate. So if you step on it down further, like halfway, and it goes away, but it comes back when you let off, but only at the higher RPM, it sounds like a little vacuum leak. And you may even get a code for fuel trim at that point too.
There's some of those units in that era that had an auxiliary electric vacuum pump on them.
Mm-hmm.
Up on the mounted to the front K-frame, and I can't remember if it was in that year or not, but it could be conditions that would warrant that it needs to produce vacuum, where maybe that little pump is engaging. I don't know. I'm reaching for straws there, but
it sounds like could be something vacuum related. And you can also have issues. The transmissions can make some noise depending on pump pressure. If there's an issue going on with that transmission, and a few of these had issues, quite a number of them, it could be that it's at maximum pressure and the transmission is what you're hearing whining. Usually that's going to be a typical thing of when you're parked.
If I put it in manual and took it from the automatic little button to manual and shifted gears up onto the highway, because this is happening, once the sound starts, it persists whether I'm coasting, accelerating, or braking, doesn't matter as long as you're in that speed range.
Right.
If I put it in manual, I'd be able to observe it go into different gears and see if the sound, because I never get it up over around 3,000 RPM. I haven't punched it, but
right.
Yeah. If that'd be a good way to troubleshoot it, I could try that next time I'm getting on the highway.
Yeah, for sure.
Boy, a sound that's hard to hear just wouldn't.
And once again, Chris, I know I've done this many times on the show today.
I would just
would not hear this sound, and you wouldn't care.
No, I'd go, oh, if I don't have the radio on, it makes a weird sound.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna
hook up Bluetooth and away we go.
Mm-hmm. To nail down, he's got it nailed down
the only
too.
Reason it's bugging me. The only reason it's bugging me is because I've had a mechanic ride along who couldn't hear it, but then I figured out some new ways to kind of more consistently reproduce the sound, which is the troubleshooting bane of existence. Can you replicate the issue?
Mechanic can't hear it. It's not. I don't think it's doing it.
Chris is pretty sure it's not broken.
I'm pretty sure it's fine. I think it's just normal operation. Christoph, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. Let us know if you track it down. 866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Don't forget, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe there and join the Hoodie Fan Club, you could win a hoodie.
Like Larry Osterling, congratulations for everybody here under the hood and our friends over at Berkeley One Classics celebrating 50 years of collector car coverage. And Universal Technical Institute, uti.edu.
What's the longest vehicle you've had insurance on? Yours probably not that long, right? Because
my truck,
which is just 8 years, 9 years. Oh, your truck, the one you drive,
25 feet long.
Yeah, I've had it from the longest vehicle I've had insurance on. That's the longest vehicle I've had insurance on.
And it's the longest vehicle you've had insured, probably.
Yeah, I think we got that in. I think we bought it in 2000. My wife got it for me. I think it was in 2003.
Okay. Shannon?
Yeah, 2002 or 3.
I was just sitting here thinking of this question. The longest vehicle.
So it's the one you've had the longest.
Yeah. No. The longest in length.
The longest that you currently have insurance on. The oldest.
No, not longest in length. Longest amount of time.
I thought you said the longest vehicle I'm trying to think of.
No.
I've had a hearse one.
No, you
policy
had a 4-door.
Time-wise.
The bomb.
The longest.
The international. Yeah. I didn't own that.
That was
I do own it now, but it's not insured. It's crunched.
Right now.
Oh, is it still here?
It's down at Dad's house, yeah. I can tell you the
All
story.
right, never mind.
Okay, no, the longest insured vehicle that I have, personally.
Yes.
I could guess on it. It's probably the Trans Am.
I think it's the 89 Trans Am 20th anniversary.
Okay.
That's
the turbo one.
Yeah, that's the longest one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to JJ. You're on the Under the Hood Show. JJ, what can we do for you?
Well, the longest vehicle I owned was a Taurus, one of those station wagons.
I like that question way better. The longest vehicle I've owned.
It was a boat. It had a lot of miles on it. So my question is on a 2012 CRV Honda. 469 miles from 200,000. So go to a Notre Dame game in September with a buddy. Come back. The car's sitting in the Sioux Falls Airport, and go to turn the ignition on, start the vehicle. It makes a real loud buzzing, grinding noise. Hasn't done that for like a month, and then it did it like 2 weeks ago. Any idea what's going on there?
No. Did it start? Did it start?
Yeah, it starts now fine. I don't know if it's the ignition or...
What is this buzzing noise? Is it happening when you're trying to turn it over or just turning the key on?
Yeah, well, you actually turn it over. So it turns over, and it does it sporadically. So it's only done it twice. So I'm like...
So is it not turning over when it's buzzing, or is turning over and it's buzzing at the same time?
Yeah, the latter, what you said.
It is turning over and it's buzzing? Does it sound like an old
it
car
did it
when the
twice.
flywheel used to be going bad and it would whack against the starter? Does it sound like that old noise?
A little bit. So I'm like, I don't know if it's the ignition, if there's electrical problem.
I wonder if the Bendix is going bad on the starter, and it's causing it to. I'm just not knowing what buzzing you're talking about, but the grinding on starting is only a few things. If a vehicle grinds when it starts, there's only a few things it can be. It's something to do with the starter, the Bendix in the starter, starter coming loose, but that would do it all the time most likely. And if it's making a grinding, you got to fix that as soon as you can, because if it's not the flywheel or the flex plate, it will be soon that you have to take it apart.
Yeah.
And with that many miles on it, you could have. You've probably never put a starter on this thing.
Yeah, I just did it probably 6 months ago. So it's by the ignition. So I don't.
Oh, the buzzing's inside the car? Well, now we find
Okay.
the rest of the story.
Okay.
Why'd you put a starter on it?
His cell phone's not great, so you just answer if you can.
If the buzzing's inside near the ignition, I would take that panel off and listen under there. Follow your nose or your ears, until you find the buzz. Put your hands on whatever's buzzing, and then go to a shop and say, "This is buzzing." If it's the ignition switch itself, you need an ignition switch. You're not making good contact in there, and it's arcing, which is, I don't know how you'd hear it. If you heard an arc in that thing, it would
That's
be
bad.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
Could something have just come loose?
Could
And
be a relay. There's a number of relays under that dash, and it could be that a relay for something is not pulling down like it should and latching. It's just buzzing, trying to make contact. And then once it starts up, the alternator voltage comes up, and the system voltage is up, and it locks the relay, and you're good.
That it changes the buzzing grinding noise too.
But
That-
it does.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
trying to interpret what was going on there.
JJ, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. Yeah, he's just going to have to find exactly where it is and what it is, and then go from there, right?
Yeah, like I said, when you start talking about, noises, and it is amazing how challenging it can be between cell phones, the language what we'll use and what language somebody has been accustomed to, how to get a basic answer that we need sometimes to make the right path or to go down the right path.
Is it a ringing or a clunking?
Yeah.
Is it a yeah?
Because people have different
Is it a
perceptions
clink, clank,
of what those
cluck,
things mean.
click?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, some people say it won't start, and then we try to ask, is it turning over? And then people, I've realized, don't always know what that means.
Right.
To me, I
Yeah.
know exactly what it means.
Mhm.
But to them,
That thing go ring right?
Crank.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you do the crank again?
Ring.
I did have a
You-
customer.
You're
who
doing the
was
light version.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
really confused the other day. They brought a car and they said they had told me, I don't even remember what it was. It's been a couple weeks now, but they said, well, yeah, I turn it and it turns over. It doesn't start. It's just turning over. I'm like, okay, so it's cranking. Yeah, it's just not going. So I said, well, maybe it's a fuel pump because it's not getting fuel or something. And they brought it in and they were mad at me because I told them what was wrong with it. I still can't remember the car, but it was something completely different. It was not turning over. And I had scheduled time for a fuel pump, and it turned out being something that was like 6 hours longer or whatever it was. And I said, no, you told me it was turning over. Well, I don't know anything about cars. It's like, then here's a clue for everybody.
Yeah.
If you don't know those terms,
Don't answer.
do not tell a shop. Just say, it doesn't start. I don't know what's going on. I turned the key and it's not going. It don't go ring-ing. I turned the key and the car is not running like normal. So you guys check it out, figure out what you got to do.
That's been a challenge on most of the time when we're talking to somebody in the show. And we, JJ was just fine, but it's hard to know that sometimes if they understand the terminology. And so maybe it's so much as do you understand what I'm talking about? And then sometimes people are too proud to say yes, I. Or no, I don't.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
And they just play along, and then that makes it that much harder.
Yeah,
We'll help you though. We've had people
Yeah.
over the years that say, I don't know how to open my hood. And we're like, okay, we'll help you out.
Yeah, so you back up the bus a little bit and just say, let's start from the basics here.
That one happened, I remember, was a Geo tracker. And we understood why they didn't know how to open their hood because it was a young man. And we're like, it's in the glove box. He's like, huh?
Why would it be there?
That's the same reason Volkswagen put them in there. I don't know.
I saw the other day on the road coming home from this show, I saw like a 1990 Suzuki Jimmy. Is it a Jimmy?
Oh, Suzuki
Samurai?
Sidekick.
Samurai.
Yeah.
Samurai.
And it was perfect. It looked like it was showroom new, blue. Oh, it was beautiful. It really was. It was like I went, wow, that is a good looking vehicle.
I sent you guys a picture of something the other day, didn't I? Was that what was that? I was like, whoa. And it was not rusted or.
Yeah.
Was it a Horizon?
No, it was. Oh, what was it? I don't remember.
I'd look at that picture again,
Yeah.
but I remember I sent that to you and I went, whoa, that thing's on the road. And it had a South Dakota plate, which made me.
866
Yeah.
594 4150. Let's talk to Tom. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Tom, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I have a 2010 Jeep Compass, and I need to put new transmission fluid in it. And, of course, it doesn't have a dipstick. And what I was wondering is it's that CVT transmission. If I put a big pan underneath, and when I drop the pan, if I put the same amount of fluid that comes out, is that good enough, or do I need to buy a special dipstick? And you got to have it. It goes by temperature, how much you're supposed to fill it in.
If you take out and put back in the exact amount, you are good only to the point of where the level was before you did the job.
Okay.
Because if the thing was a quart low on fluid and you took 2.2 quarts out and put exactly 2.2 quarts back into the drop, you're still a quart low on fluid.
Yeah.
So every time we do that, it's a great baseline for us. We will drain the fluid into a container that we know exactly how much it is. We'll put the same amount back in. And once we do that, then we'll check the level because we know it was driving. So it's got to be pretty close. Only time it's bad is when it's too much and you got to take some out. Sometimes it's a little harder to get it out than to get it in on some of those.
Is there a number on this that it should be?
No.
Okay.
No, because it can vary depending on how long it's been in park and different things. When you change the fluid, you're supposed to put it into drive and then to the low gears slowly, a couple seconds in each one, move back up, including neutral, then park. Do that 2, sometimes 3 times, and then check it when the transmission's at a certain temperature. So we would do it that way. You drain it and fill it with that same amount, but then check the fluid properly. And if it's one that has a cover to pull off to put a dipstick in, but you don't have a dipstick, those dipsticks are available. Amazon sells them for like $20, and they work universally.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you can do,
take
your dipstick, once you know it's the correct level, pull the engine oil dipstick out, wipe it on Chris's shirt, and then put it in that hole on the transmission, pull it out, and see where the level's at, if you know it's the right level, and make a mark on it, on the backside, not on the side with the marks that give you the oil level, but just scribe a little line on the backside of your engine oil dipstick, and then you know, okay, that's the transmission side. Hopefully nobody else screws that up. Maybe it'll be the same. I've seen it close. But then put that back. So now you've got a dipstick for your transmission and your engine. We do that a lot. We'll just use, if I know how high it is in inches, like the one Caravan's like 1.25 inches up. So we just pull the dipstick out, shove it in there, and go, that should be about 1.25 inches. Nope. The only difference between that universal stick and that with no marks is that the universal one has measurements in millimeters on it, going up to like 40 millimeters. So you know what level it's supposed to be at.
What if I've got me one of them 3-foot long zip ties? Will that work?
Sure.
Right? Same.
Just to dip it in there?
Yeah.
Until the end of it bends. And
Nah, that'll be fine. We're just going to do it twice.
So when you
3 times.
when you drain it out, then
lady.
you compare that capacity to what the manual says is supposed to be the capacity. And if they're close, that's a good way to go.
How would he know?
What's that?
How would he know if he drains 2.2?
Let's all boycott the manufacturers until they put dipsticks in all cars again. I think it's dumb that they don't.
It really is, isn't it?
It keeps them in the casino. You got to take your car back to have it worked on. That's what they're doing. They want you back into the shop to either 1, fix it because you don't have a dipstick, or 2, trade that baby in on another one. I guarantee you that's what's going on in that boardroom.
Well, they're trying to
and make it appear
solidify the fact that they say that your transmission doesn't need to be serviced until 100,000 miles, or or non-serviced,
or until the life of the vehicle,
cost
the life
of ownership
of the transmission.
argument is what they're working on.
Tom, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show. 866-594-4150. That's the number to reach us here at the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Bruce here on the Under the Hood Show. Bruce, what can we do for you?
Yeah, hi, guys. I have a 2012 Dodge Challenger. It's just the standard model with the V6 in it. And I had the ABS light appear on the dash. So I took it to my local Dodge dealership, and they checked out the wheel speed sensors. They said the wheel speed sensors were good, the wires to the sensors were good, and that the ABS system was probably bad. But they also told me that Mopar has discontinued that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering what my options are as far as an aftermarket. Will it sync up with the computer? Will it get along with the system?
There's only one option on this. You're not going to find an aftermarket ABS pump. I don't know if I've ever seen one.
Well, they must make some for certain brands because we sell a few to core buyers, but of certain ones. But
I think those may be, because I've seen it, the manufacturer, where they say remanufactured.
Remanufactured is what they're doing. They're taking the original one.
As far as like a used or a, go to auto parts store and pick one up. I don't remember. We've never purchased one, but Car Dash Part we've purchased a number from, which is a used factory option. It's one that's going to have a guarantee on it and it's going to work. If that's what your problem is that pump is bad. That's going to be the most affordable and the best option for you.
Well, if they don't make it new, it's the only option.
Right. And that's what I would do. Otherwise, if you're driving around with a light on, it's not going to hurt anything. You just don't have ABS brakes like a 73 Challenger. Yeah. So,
right.
make you feel nostalgic. Cover up the light and just say, hey, I'm driving a classic.
You want to probably get it fixed, though, because that affects other systems that won't work.
Well, it's got that traction control in there, too. And then, that could get all wacky. So I would look up Car Dash Parts, see what they have available. If they don't have more than 100 available, I would be really surprised.
Maybe if you find out there's 2 left, you'll realize that they are in high demand.
Yeah, that's true.
But they said it was the ABS module assembly is what they thought what the problem was?
That's correct. And they also said that it could affect the cruise control also. Not sure about that.
If it's got something to do with the electronics and the brake switch portion of it, yes.
Bruce, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Ted. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Ted, what can we do for you?
Hey, good morning, guys. I got a 2011 F-150 four-wheel drive. I knew it kind of had bad brakes when I bought it because the rims and hubs kind of got hot from the brakes being seized. So I replaced the brakes, calipers, rotors, did all that. It still kind of was acting weird. And the rubber hose from the hard pipe to the calipers kind of rough, so I replaced those. And now the brakes work good, everything works good. But still, when I take off or I turn to the right or left, it kind of sounds like it's in four-wheel drive. I can't get rid of it.
What does being in four-wheel drive sound like? What do you explain that? What were you thinking?
A little bit, and it just kind of makes a humming noise when I turn.
Okay, so
and then
jerking.
I guess I did jack it up and kind of wiggle the wheels for the wheel bearings and stuff, and that seems all right.
Did you replace the vacuum hub and the bearing with the teeth on it in the front, both sides too?
No, I didn't. I didn't replace any of the vacuum hubs.
So I would just unplug the vacuum hubs up front and drive it and see if the noise goes away. Okay. So it's locked in completely. It may be that, if it still makes a noise, then you've got bad hubs. They're going to have to be replaced. We put a lot of these on. But if it only makes it with it plugged in, it's possible that you've got a leak in a vacuum line or in a leak in one of the vacuum hubs, which is affecting both now. You can use a vacuum. They have handheld Mighty Vac gauges to check those hubs, see if they move properly and hold vacuum. It's common to have those hoses leak. They run up to a solenoid on the passenger side of the firewall. But likely you're going to have to replace the hub and with the teeth on it and the vacuum actuator. They just strip out the teeth, out over the time.
And Dorman Products offers those also.
They do. They sell both those pieces that you need. They sell the solenoids for it. They sell all of that, and it's a necessity. I mean, you can't have, if you have brand new hubs on it and you got a leaking vacuum system, you'll ruin those hubs. So when we put them on, we make sure the rest of the system is working good.
Ted, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Mike. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Mike, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I've got a 2016 F-150. The other day I went to start it, and it started right away, but it went up to a high idle and the cooling fan kicked on. And so I stepped on the gas pedal to try and get kicked out of that high idle, even though it's never done that before, but it wouldn't. So luckily I had the garage door open. I put it in reverse and then it wouldn't go into gear. So I tried it a second time and then it did jump into reverse hard. And I mean, it went back a little bit, but I stopped it. And then I tried putting it into drive and it wouldn't go into drive. So I put it back into park and shut it off, thinking to reset things or whatever. And then I went to start it, and now it won't even turn over. The ignition comes on, the lights and everything, but it won't crank. And then I tried to even just have the key on and put it into neutral to try and roll it a little more forward, and it won't even come out of gear. It won't come out of park. And I tested the battery. It had 11.8 volts, but I put a charger on it just in case. And the charger went, when I had it on the 20 amp, the charger went off about like pegged out, like it was completely dead. So I tried it again, still wouldn't even turn over. Put the charger on overnight on trickle charge, and then tried it again, still wouldn't turn over. Disconnected the battery completely for about an hour or so, and then connected the battery again, and it still won't turn over, and I still can't get it into neutral or park. And it did have the wrench icon on the dash, but I don't know what's going on with it.
It's seeing that there's a service condition going on, and it could be something like the battery. Last night I just plugged in I've got a battery maintainer charger from Optima, the D400. And one of the things I like about that unit is that when I plug it in, it looked at it and said, hey, it's analyzing the battery. You got 11.9 volts, which meant it was getting low because it sits for, a month or two at a time sometimes, that Yukon. But it said, okay, the battery's good. It's going to go ahead and charge it. And then it looks at the charging amps and it can tell these things. And when you get a smart maintainer like that, charger maintainer, it's helpful. So that's something to look at, because I think when you tell me you've got an old standard battery charger and you hook it up and it's pegging it, I wonder if your battery just didn't fail. And with a failed battery, it's not going to start. You won't be able to jump it because it's got an internal short in it, and it's also going to peg a charger like that. But on trickle charge, it would be able to run. The charger would run, but it just wouldn't do anything with the battery. So my first step on this vehicle, if it was towed into our shop, would be to get a battery tester, test the battery. Mm-hmm. I'd disconnect it and test the battery. And if it said recharge, good, I'd recharge it and test it again. But if it said bad battery, I'd put a new battery in and run it. I've seen this in a number of these Fords. If it had the original battery in it, it's time for sure.
A 10-year-old battery almost.
Yeah.
If Mike disconnected his battery, brought it to your shop.
Just the battery.
Yeah, just the battery.
I'd test it and say good or bad.
And then,
but more than likely, I think it's probably going to need a battery. But if this battery is more than 5 years old, I would put a battery in it anyways.
Right.
And on this vehicle, an AGM or a lithium battery is highly recommended with all the electronics this one has.
Well, and that bums you out too when you buy a new battery, and then if you have something else going on and it runs the battery dead, you feel like, I just bought this battery and I've already compromised it a little.
Well, and in a bad battery, it could have gone bad because of a system running it down. So when you put a new one in, you need to test it and test the system and find out what's going on. Don't leave it to run the battery down.
That'll do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. Thanks for listening. Until next time, you can find us at underthehoodshow.com. Don't forget, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel. For Russ Evans, Shannon Nordstrom, I'm Chris Carter. Thanks for listening. Does that help you out, Mike? Did we? Does that make sense to you? Are you still there? Okay, Mike's gone. Good. Let's talk about it. No, I thought he was still there. Let's do this. Let's talk to Adrian. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Adrian, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I got a 2003 Chevy Silverado. I had some charging problems, and got those fixed. Starter was sucking too much juice or something. I don't know. Anyways, I drove it the other day, and I took it out to TJN, and the fuse box got like hot to the touch. and only getting like 4.3 miles per gallon, and I'm thinking maybe it's PM or I'm not even sure what's going on with it.
I'm concerned about a fuse box that's hot. If we fix that first, then we're probably going to fix some other stuff out. You might have an alternator issue with that.
We had a guy at the counter here the other day that was asking our reps, and he had a hot fuse box in a similar vehicle.
Well, the battery, the alternator.
That was me.
That was you. Okay. Yeah, I was walking through, and Jonathan and you were talking about that, and I gave my quick opinion because I was on the way to do something else when the show was over. But
that vehicle has your positive power wire goes down to the driver's side of the engine, and then from there it goes down to the starter.
Yeah.
Then your alternator wire goes from the back of the alternator across the top of the engine to that same post. So it's not running through the fuse box.
Okay.
So if there was an alternator short, it shouldn't get hot. Then you've got a wire from there up to the fuse box that feeds the rest of the vehicle. So if your fuse box itself gets hot, something in the vehicle is drawing a lot of current. And it could also be that there's just a corroded or weak connection in the fuse box so that even under normal current load, it's overheating because of resistance. I would take the fuse box out. It pops out on that driver's side, look at all the pins and see if some of them are melted. You're going to have to replace both the connector and the fuse box in order to fix that. Could be that it's the fuel pump or the heater in the vehicle and air conditioning that's pulling enough load that it's power windows, seats, pulling enough load that it's causing that thing to get hot.
Remember in those they had the fan switch problem with the control and the relay?
And that runs through that fuse box.
That was a recall they had back in the day.
For fire.
Yeah.
If the fuse box is getting hot because of high resistance, the engine computer also runs through that, would not get enough voltage, and could cause poor fuel mileage because of a voltage issue. It's not going to be able to read the sensors correctly.
If a computer was faulty, it would be highly, highly unusual for it to be faulty to the point that it would cause the fuse block to get hot.
Right. It should.
It would just pop things. It would just pop them. It'd be done. I mean, it's just not. That's not a heavy current circuit. I think the other thing I might have mentioned when you were at the counter the other day is just to inspect if there's ever been an accessory wire added in going to the back to power something off the rear bumper. Check the 7-pin on the rear bumper. Make sure there's nothing there.
The big wire, the big red wire back there runs all the way up to that fuse box, takes its power through that box as well.
So if something was corroded along the way, you could be extra resistance there. Probably get yourself a heat gun and start tracing some wires too. You could, just do some aiming at things and see if you can figure out where that heat is originating from. If you take from the fuse block with it flipped open and start kind of tracing away and see if you can, when everything is it warm at all ever? Like when you first come to the vehicle and you haven't ran it yet?
No. Only when I run it. I took it across town yesterday and I got 4.3 miles per gallon. And it didn't go into limp mode.
Should be able to plug a computer scanner into it and read the voltages on that computer. If you check out at the battery and you've got 13.4 volts, 13.6 volts, and that computer says inside that you've got 11, something's going on. You should have ignition voltage and battery voltage on the scanner at that computer just about the same as what's under the hood at the battery itself. If it's different, it's going to affect the fuel mileage because everything runs off of that. All the voltage for all the sensors originate from that computer.
If the voltage is not maintaining, it's going to do all kinds of wacky stuff.
Does that help you out there, Adrian?
Okay. Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Good luck. Thanks very much for the call. I had something happen today, or this week, I should say, that struck me as one of those where you're like, oh, things are pretty good when it comes to cars. Sometimes, sometimes you have one of those moments. In my new car, I noticed and I've been keeping track. I'm getting about 36 miles to the gallon, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
You were like, I'm used to 46.
yeah. I was like, oh, that's, and then I went, oh, that's pretty good, especially with gas.
Well, you
prices.
figure the fuel price change right now where
Yeah.
we're at.
I was just like, for one of those where like when someone calls and says my remote start won't work, and I go, wah. That's how I felt about myself. I looked at my mileage and went, oh, that's not very good. Wah.
Yeah, I rented
This guy's getting 4 miles a gallon.
I rented one of the new. It showed the new body style Prius.
Oh yeah.
Saturday. I was like, I'm gonna get one of them.
I thought you got a Kia Soul.
I rented the Prius.
Yeah.
And I got to the counter and they said,
Oh.
"We're out of cars, sir. We've got vans, or we've got a Kia." And I'm like,
I
"What?"
can never get a van when I want a van when
Yeah.
we need one for the.
Yeah, they had 2 vans and a Kia, and that's all they had for cars. They said, "We'll have some coming in. They're going to get cleaned." And I said, "Well, how long is that?" And they said, "A long time. I don't know." I said, "Just whatever." So they gave me a Kia. They gave me a hamster. Gave me a Kia Soul. The Soul is done, but they haven't changed anything on it other than some of the electronics inside. The outside looks still basically the same.
Sure.
I was hoping for the Prius for the miles per gallon.
Yeah.
I guess I really didn't care. I just wanted something that was decent miles per gallon. The van wasn't going to do it. I didn't want to drive a van around Dallas anyway, all over the freeway. That Kia Soul got like close to 40 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
I went to the pump when I was done, and I was like, click. What?
That's it.
What? What happened? It was amazing, the fuel mileage it got. But, boy, she was bare bones. They did not add anything. I mean, power windows,
Oh, there you go.
power locks, rear defogger, air conditioning.
That's about it.
Air conditioning keep up okay?
Oh, well,
Wasn't
it was 92 degrees. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the air was fine. My wife doesn't really like air, so we don't turn it up very much. But it was, it was pretty. I'm used to cars with a few more
Sure.
things on them. As far as with the rental cars, they usually have
Everything.
a lot more
Yeah.
gadgets and buttons.
Were you able to sync your phone up to it?
Yeah, it did have Bluetooth. Never did run the radio. That was another one I couldn't figure out the radio. You know, we didn't turn that Denali we had.
The whole time.
I tried to turn the radio. I hit the audio button and it said not available while driving. So when we were parked,
Yeah.
off and on, it said not available. We're like, I couldn't put the Bluetooth on it. Nothing. I think something was wrong with it. I've seen people asking about that now. Hey, my radio won't do anything. What is it on that style? But
I think we pushed too many buttons trying to find the fuel gauge.
yeah, it's like, where's the fuel gauge? Right in front of us. Because we kept looking, it said empty full on the left and an arrow, which meant it was pointing to the, or it said fuel.
It was well integrated.
Yeah, and it was full, so it looked like a big white line.
Yeah.
Part of the
It looked
display.
like part of the it didn't.
Part of
It
the
said,
design.
well, it says we have 400 miles to empty, so it must be full.
It was like one of those magic eyes because as soon as we saw it, we were like, we're the dumbest 4 people in the world. Because we
And
could
have
not find that gauge.
And we have a car talk show.
And then we saw it and we're like, we are dumb because it's right there. As soon as it started to go low and we saw it, it was like, oh, it's so obvious. But you're right. When it was full, it was matched on the other side by a similar light. So it looked like it was part
and it
of
was
the,
it was a 20, was it a 26 or 5?
5, I think.
5.
It was a new design.
Yeah, it was a new design, so brand new. We'd never had to drive one and set the cruise on it before, so it took me 45 minutes before because I can't see well enough to see the symbols perfectly when it's right there. And I'm like, is it this one? Nah, don't push that.
I'm in the
don't
back
push
seat telling him what it says.
We put 960 miles on that baby.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a lot of driving back and forth and around.
I would have
and
never
around.
guessed that number.
No,
That was great.
And 120 miles each way, so it was a lot of miles in one place. But you see, that's a big area for being such
Yeah.
a small area. That's fuel was 70 cents a gallon back then,
Yeah.
so it wasn't too bad in a car that used more, and you just had to live for finding fuel.
All right. I think we're good, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Click like, subscribe, and if you're watching this not now live, we'll just cut that front off, right?
Yeah, they'll never notice.
Yeah, apologize if you were watching live. We had a little audio.
It was off.
problem.
I just had to reset. I'm
Yeah.
like, why did it do that?
We must have. Did you notice the loss of? Anybody else mention that loss of
Power.
power anywhere? Okay,
I was gone though, so
that's right. Yeah, it's true. All right. See you. Thanks, everybody.